Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday for the 19th of April 2023. It's currently 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast, 5:30 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember, this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. All right, so a bunch to run through. Just first of all, the overall market. Just wanted to look at a few things in terms of that. Here's a chart of the All Ords, which is obviously above all its key moving averages. It's bounced out of this correction we had, and it's looking pretty strong. All right, I just want to quickly run through a few things like this. The Gear ETF has had a huge bounce out of this correction. Let's just look around the world. The Nasdaq, the Nasdaq ETF is just in a huge uptrend channel now. All right. This was obviously, was in a bear market for ages, but it's just, you can't argue that it still is, because it's in an uptrend. All the moving averages are below it, and it's looking strong. And then we look around the world. Here's Japan ETF that's trending up. The Chinese ones probably aren't as strong as the Japanese ones anymore, but they're still hanging on to that uptrend just. And let's just look at Europe quickly. I think it's that one. IAU is in a strong uptrend. It's like Europe probably actually looks stronger than pretty much the rest of the world, right? So, the bear market's over, and as far as I'm concerned, I've been saying that for like months now, and I just feel that there's so many people still sitting out because they're freaked out about the world. They're depressed that some bad shit's going to happen and all that sort of stuff. And the market's a forward-looking thing, right? The market bottoms way before all that stuff, all those cycles are done. Starts going up while there's still awful news everywhere you look. And by the time all these people realize that the market's in an uptrend, it's probably going to be 20, 30% higher, and it's going to be way too late. And that's just human psychology that has been happening since the start of the stock market, and it's going to happen forever to come. I love the fact that there's still people sitting out of this market. It makes zero sense to me, because all the facts are pointing to a market that's trending up. And I've got more money in this market than I've had, more than I did during the COVID boom, right? Probably more than I've had at any point in my life, actually. So maybe I'm biased, right? But I have good paper profits stacking up on top of each other and compounding. Very few losing positions, paper losing positions at the moment. And all the evidence in the P&L on my statement, and the facts in front of me on the charts, and the fact that there's still bad news out there everywhere you look and people are negative, everything is just screaming to me, sit tight, hold tight. I think people, hopefully me position myself the way I have over the past 3 or 4 months is going to really, really cash in over the next few years, okay? If I have the ability to just sit tight, sit on my ass, do very little, just sit with my big positions, my good positions, and just sit tight, right? I want to quickly run through some of the trades I crapped on about last week. 2 weeks ago. WTC, right? Hasn't exploded, but it's in an uptrend and it's grinding higher, okay? ADT thought that it was going to come down and give me a loss. It started rallying and recovering. Let's just see. That's probably, I'd say, the only one that's actually showing me a paper loss right now. So damn ADT, but let's just see what happens. MNB, still in it, being patient. The Apple trade going really, really well. Obviously Gear, I don't have to talk about that, but Gear's just going batshit crazy, I would love beer just to crash again, as I always say. The Zero trade has started really well. I was talking about SLA on Twitter a week or two ago. It's just so many charts look like this, right? Where the price is just starting to get on top of its major moving averages and starting to trend up, okay? This, for me, this is when I want to be getting into stocks, when stage 2 breakouts are just happening. Stocks are leaving their stage 1 bases, because this is when the risk reward is just crazy good, okay? Because these things are just starting their uptrend. I want to get in at the start of them and just hold on for as long as I possibly can. Because in my head, I'm thinking that SLA, if if I'm right on it, can go back up here to $5. Okay, I've bought numerous parcels down here, $1 something, and then one at $2.20, I think it was. And so if this can go back up to $5, then I've made good money, right? And that's what it's all about. SLA setups like that, it just makes me way more excited than the ADT setup. The ADT setup was a really scream down here when it was just sitting right on top of these moving averages. But up here, it's a bit more extended. It's a stage 2 advance already, and the risk reward isn't as good on it, right? And so it all comes back to stage analysis and the Stan Weinstein book, which is just the best book ever written on investing and trading in the stock market and from a technical point of view. And so these are the stocks I'm trying to get myself in. SLA and the zero ones are really similar, okay? And I'm just trying to plant all my money in stuff like this that are just, getting into stage 2 advances, right? What was another one from last week? Hot chili, okay? I said I wanted it to base another week. It did that, okay? It was just here I was talking about last week. It came down, base, stuffed around, tiny volume, then just massive breakout today, okay? So, I've taken it, and I don't really need any more other positions in my life because I'm so heavily long. But this was just a stage 1, huge stage 1 base, tiny volume on the pullback, broke out of its base, reset, and broke again, okay? Another one, DCC, I'm not in it, but I might be soon. I'm just waiting for that to base. I'm going to show a Bitcoin chart later. I didn't like it. It just fell too far down here, and it's just too loose. But anyway, I'm watching that, and I might position myself in that soon. Actually, the other one showing me a paper loss at the moment on my latest add to this is Google, okay? Got in around here, and it's, showing me a paper loss. So ADT and Google are showing me losses, but the rest of my portfolio's in the money, and, it's just a really, really, I'm finding this a great market to be in. And some new setups. First of all, disclaimer for these new setups. I'm not really looking at new setups, okay? I don't need any new setups. Because I'm so heavy long, I don't need anything. But if something exceptional comes along, then yes, I have a tiny bit of leftover cash that I will put it to work in, okay? Car, I think is not for me, okay? The company is growing, but not rapidly. It's got a bit of a monopoly, this stock, but it's just not growing as quick. I think it's just going to be a bit of a slow mover, but you can't deny that base, but I'm probably not for me, okay? I did add some BH into my long-term self-managed super fund. Obviously down here I did, but just breaking out of this huge base here, I've just added a tiny bit more, okay? I'm not waiting for the break of this horizontal. I just got a little bit today. And so just a real small add there, just because this is a nice base, and this huge flush out. So this shaded bits are obviously where I got a bit more, but it's also, if you look at this low here, it came down, flushed out below that low, then rallied. And so these flush outs, as I show time and time again, the best example probably I've ever seen is the hack one, okay? Flushed out below these lows, got back above it, boom, that is the sign of a bottom. And we will see how hack unfolds. But obviously, signs of flush out happen in stage 2 advances, in huge stage 1 bases. They happen all over the shop. But when you see it in a setup that you're about to take, the probability of success, it's exponentially higher, okay? And once you learn about flush outs and about how powerful they are, you see them everywhere you look, right? Here's a chart going back here. This is a key low on BH. It flushed out below those lows by a few pips and reversed, okay? It happens all the time, and it's just a sign that the market's just flushing out the weak hands, and then it's getting on with the job, okay? It's like one final flush out before a real move. Mark Minervini in his books goes through it really, really, really well. But and another stock which I'm not going to hop into, but is BSL, which is setting up a obviously large cap steel company, and then a few tiny little ones that I'm just watching play out before I make a decision. Is MI6, I think it is, Minerals 2260, obviously, that has had this big rally on big volume, and now it's just basing sideways in a super tight Darvis box, okay? That came up in the Darvis scan for me. And that's not ready, it just needs another week, or probably, it might even need a little bit more. Like, I just want I want that to be a real base, okay? And so when I went in by real base is you flick to weekly data, and it hasn't based long enough to really look like a real base. And so I am watching that one. If that can just chill out for another week, it could be super nice. I just want all the moving averages to catch up to it a bit so it's not overextended, okay? I don't need to take on overextended risky entries right now. And another one I'm looking at is ORA, because it's just it gapped up on big volume. It's starting to hop on top of all its moving averages, and it's forming massive resistance up here. And I'm hoping a little VCP on the right-hand side here is starting to form, okay? And so, that needs time to play out, but I've scanned through thousands of stocks over the last few days, and there's been a nice move in the market. There aren't that many that are looking as hot chili was starting to look 2 weeks ago, but then obviously over the last week or so. ORA, obviously, it's not an aggressive, fast-moving stock as hot chili, but the structure here and the point of the life cycle of its trend is showing promise. So it's on the watch list to look over. And on the US, I don't need more US stocks right now. I just have more than enough. Okay, I mentioned on my the newsletter thing I'm doing for fun that I'm long in NU, which is probably my latest American ad other than Google. And it's just, there's so many stocks like this around that have just been IPO'd relatively recently, gone down, got hammered as they always do post IPO, which is a super interesting fact. But if you do a deep dive study into big IPOs, pretty much selling on IPO days is a pretty safe bet. Okay, they tend to all get hammered for very obvious reasons, which when you stop and think about what an IPO process is and what it does and what it's achieving, right? They're pretty much always overvalued. And look who's making money from it and who has motivation to have them overvalued. They all tend to get hammered a lot, sometimes 50, 60, 70, 80%, and then they put in massive bases, and that's called a IPO base. NU has done that. It's put in this huge base with massive, significant lows, put in so much work. I've got a position on here if I'm breaking this channel. I really want to add to it. If I'm going to get more US exposure, it'll be adding to my NU position, okay? The other thing, it's pretty short and sweet this week, but kind of with hopefully some cool stuff for people, is just quietly while this shit's going down, Bitcoin has been breaking back above 30,000 and is in a full-blown uptrend now. It's above all its major moving averages. I'm still in Bitcoin, okay? I've been dollar cost averaging it during this whole bear market. I'm still dollar cost averaging into it every week. I'm still a believer. Nothing's changed with me. FTX collapsing wasn't due to Bitcoin's, a problem with the theory behind Bitcoin. The bull market just happens, right? Bull markets happen in tech stocks, mining stocks, Bitcoin, whatever the hell, security or speculation device you wanted to look at. Bull markets and bear markets happen. I think when Bitcoin crashed, you had all these, dumbasses arguing that, the death of crypto, I told you it was a scam. And shit, were they saying that about Netflix when it was down 80%? I told you Netflix was a scam. It's just, this thing goes through cycles, bull markets, bear markets, that's the way the world works. And just quietly, Bitcoin is in an uptrend again. And I thought